Welcome back to another episode of Hood 187. In today's video, we go over the Prince Hall Village Crips and how being blackballed from the city's gang politics helped turn them into one of the most dangerous homegrown Crip sets in Oklahoma. The Prince Hall Village Crips emerged in the late 80s, originally going by the name Prince Hall Villains. They were a Crip-affiliated crew based out of the Prince Hall Village housing projects, an area already weighed down by poverty, heavy police presence, and rising tension from rival gangs. But what made them different was how isolated they were. See, at that time, most of the gang activity in Oklahoma City was centered around bigger, more established sets like the Neighborhood Crips, Hoover Criminals, Piru Bloods, and Gangster Crips. But the villains weren't fully accepted. Some say they got blackballed, others say they just didn't play politics. So they started moving grimy. The Prince Hall villains started getting active with home invasions, robberies, and shootouts with the Hoovers and Bloods. In 1989, the streets found out just how serious it was when Kyle Mitchell and 3 other teens went on what police called a brutal crime spree. A series of armed home invasions and shootings followed, tying people up, robbing houses, leaving victims traumatized in their own homes. One man was shot during an attempted robbery. Others were duct taped, blindfolded, and held at gunpoint while their homes were stripped. It wasn't just one night. This went on across multiple houses in and around Prince Hall Village, and the police were all over it. And when they caught up with Kyle and his crew, the city didn't show them mercy. Kyle Mitchell was just 15, but his name was already known in the streets. Judge Sid Brown, a juvenile court judge in Oklahoma County, made the rare decision to certify Mitchell as an adult. In court, the judge said straight up, Mitchell had committed other violent offenses even before this. He poses a danger to the public. Mitchell wasn't going to juvenile detention. He was headed straight into the adult system, where survival is a different game. He ended up with a 12-year prison sentence for his role in the 1989 crimes. The other teens got hit with long bids too. Another kid involved in a separate robbery in Del City was just 13 years old, and when told he could have killed the man he shot, he laughed. According to Del City police, the boy and a group of other young suspects had stopped 62-year-old Joe Barton under the pretense of asking for directions. When Barton refused to give them money, one of the boys pulled out a .22 caliber revolver and shot him in the stomach. Barton had to undergo emergency surgery and recovered months later. Earlier that same day, police believe the Prince Hall villains also targeted another man at an Oklahoma City apartment complex. Again, they asked for directions, then demanded money. But when the man refused, one of the boys aimed a gun at his head and pulled the trigger. But to everyone's surprise, the man survived because the gun jammed during the shooting. All of the gang members involved were under the age of 13, with the youngest being 9 years old. All claimed to be part of the Prince Hall villains. At first, the Oklahoma City Police Department referred to them as wannabe Crips, but it was clear these weren't just misguided kids. These were serious killers in the making. All of the boys had prior juvenile records for burglaries and stolen cars. Del City Police Captain Leon Rippey said the teens showed no remorse. They laughed when told they could be charged with murder if Barton died. All of the boys had prior juvenile records for burglaries and stolen cars. Years later, Judge Brown admitted he had regrets about sending Kyle into the prison system, but at the time, he said he didn't have a choice. The streets were too hot, the crimes were too serious, and Kyle's record was already stacking up. By 2003, the streets of Oklahoma City were already familiar with gunfire. Gang violence had been steadily rising, and the Prince Hall Village Crips were in the thick of it. The early morning of Wednesday, April 30th, 2003, at the Plumtree Lounge, another headline was made. The Plumtree Lounge was a known hangout spot for gang members, especially after hours. It wasn't unusual for crowds to gather in the parking lot long after the music stopped, but on that particular night, as the club shut down around 2 a.m., people started spilling out into the parking lot, hanging out, smoking, and flirting with girls. That's when a man pulled out a gun and started shooting. 2 men were hit. One of them, a 24-year-old man, died at the scene. His body was found in the parking lot, surrounded by broken glass and confusion. Police later said he was connected to the Prince Hall Village Crips. The other man was Harold Bird, III. He caught at least 1 bullet and was rushed to OU Medical Center. Reports said he was in critical condition, clinging to life in the hospital's critical care unit. According to police records, Bird was affiliated with the 107 Hoover Crips, which are the sworn enemies of the Prince Hall Village Crips. That detail raised eyebrows, because when 2 rival gang affiliates get shot in the same incident, it started looking less random and more like a walk-up gone wrong. Sergeant Charles Phillips told the press that detectives were struggling to get real answers. A lot of people were out there that night, but nobody was talking. No suspect descriptions, no vehicle info, just a chaotic scene and 2 known gang members bleeding out. Police couldn't find anyone willing to say what they saw. That's not surprising, especially in gang-heavy neighborhoods. No snitching is more than a code, it's survival. But in present day, the Prince Hall Village Crips have expanded beyond their original blocks, pushing into smaller hoods scattered across the south side. But with that growth came pressure. They would start to feud with the outlaw 30 Bloods. One of the more talked about incidents in the streets involves a white member of Prince Hall, known in the hood as White Boy. He was known for being with the younger members, who stayed active, tagging walls, disrespecting rival sets, and sliding on the east side causing chaos. But all that came to a head one evening when White Boy was spotted chilling at Pier 88, sitting with his 4-year-old little brother. Outlaw 30 Bloods got the drop on him and pulled up. Witnesses say they walked straight in, throwing up gang signs, banging on him, and disrespecting the Prince Hall Crips. White Boy froze. He was outnumbered, caught slipping with his little brother. Allegedly, they jumped him right there in the restaurant, right in front of families and kids. But the story didn't stop there. The same night, White Boy was out for payback. Allegedly, he went looking for a known Outlaw 30s member named Nas. And when he finally spotted him, he didn't hesitate. He caught Nas lacking and jumped him in retaliation. Over the past few years, the Prince Hall Crips have taken a few losses. More funerals, more indictments, more pain, but no matter what, their name still rings out across Oklahoma City. Love them or hate them, the Village Crips left their mark as one of the city's most notorious Crip sets. The Lincoln Village Crips are another respected Village Crip set from back in the day. Lincoln Village were one of the original Crip sets that started in the late 80s or early 90s. When gangbanging first hit the east side, they were based in Capitol View. The Southeast Village Crips are based out of Ambassador Courts, and their clique is called 15th Street. They're one of the few black Crip gangs in that part of the city, since most of the other gangs around there are Hispanic. Back in the day, a lot of people say the Village Crips and the Southside Locos didn't get along. Some say the beef started because the Murdertown Gangster Crips and the Oak Grove Curve Village Crips were going at it, and one thing led to another, and it pulled others into the mix. The Curve Village Crips were known for their rivalry with Mexican gangs, mainly because they were surrounded by several Hispanic sets in their area. But over time, they also got into it with the Hoovers and other crews, which pushed them to align more closely with the Neighborhood Crips. Eventually, they rebranded as the Oak Grove Posse Crips and fell under the Block Crip car, according to members of the Neighborhood Crips I've spoken to. And like the Prince Hall Village Crips, they would be known for having violent members who were underage. Some were just kids, but in the streets, they were treated like grown men. A lot of older gang members believe that sending younger members to commit crimes will give them a lesser sentence, but in Oklahoma, what might seem like an easy cash grab could turn into a death sentence. On November 8, 2000, T-Knock and the Oak Grove Posse pulled up to Trans Food Mart, a small neighborhood spot owned and run by a man named Han Von Vo. That night, Vo was working behind the counter, but he wasn't just a clerk, he was also armed. T-Knock and the others didn't know Vo had a gun. They came in thinking it'd be a fast come-up. But when the masked robbers made their move, Vo reacted instantly. T-Knock was pronounced dead at the scene, and his partner in crime was ultimately convicted of T-Knock's murder, since he was held responsible for the robbery that led to the fatal shooting. What a shame. The Southside Imperial Village Crips was another old set in Oklahoma City that died off during the 2000s. They were able to have a presence on Tulsa's South Side, but like the Oklahoma City chapter, they had faded away. The Village Crips don't get along with other Village Crip sets, with inner conflicts happening surrounding their politics, but really, not many reputable Village gang sets exist anymore. Thank you for watching another episode of Hood 187. If you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe, and if I got anything wrong, feel free to correct me. This is for the city, to document the gangs and their history.